Right, guys, hello and welcome to the THQ podcast. So I am back doing my interviews, and today I'm joined with Jamie Lester. Now, Jamie is the new THQ trainer. He's going to be Will's replacement for Whaley Bridge, as Will has gone off now to be a head coach in THQ High Lane. It's been a bit of a stop-start process with finding Jamie and actually getting him into the gym with obviously everything that's been going on. But we're finally ready now to get him into things and get him to be a THQ trainer. So I'm going to kick things off. Now, Jamie's background is MMA, and he has got a lot of lessons that he can obviously teach a lot of people that are really trying to develop their mindset through the transformation journey. Now, Jamie is going to be obviously focusing on body composition. That's what we do at THQ. But he's got a lot of lessons to teach you now how you can really transform your mindset. So, Jamie, welcome.
Thank you.
So, just tell us a little bit about obviously your sort of background in training. You're professional MMA fighter. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, yeah, I was born into a sporting environment. My dad's job, he was a sportsman. So all my life really was about combat sports as a kid, playing football as well. And so through my 20s, I studied PE in college. Through my 20s, I was playing football at semi-professional level, and I was always in and out of the gym. But I got to a point when I was 29, just before my 30th birthday. I wasn't working in the fitness industry, although I spent a lot of my time within health and fitness and nutrition and whatever. Everything sort of turned a little bit sour at one point in my life, just before I turned 30. I wasn't enjoying my sport. I was in a job that I didn't really see a future in. It didn't excite me. I wasn't passionate about it. So I got to a point where I thought, well, what do I want for the rest of my life? Sort of thing. What do I really want to be doing? What excites me? So at that point, it was my interest was piqued by MMA. Just because I'd always dabbled in. I competed in karate as a kid. Through my 20s, I trained intermittently in Thai boxing, even though my focus was on football. And like I say, I had a full-time job working in the double glazing industry. Yeah. So like I say, that wasn't my passion, but it was paying the mortgage. So I got to the point where I asked myself the question, what is it that I want? Back now, if money was no object, what would I do, sort of thing. Yeah. So mine was to work full-time in the fitness industry. And at the same time, I'd stumbled across MMA, mixed martial arts, and to be honest, it petrified me to watch it, because to me, my perception at that time was it was brutal, because it was a very demanding sport. So then, like I say, it piqued my interest, and I thought, would I be able to do that? Like I say, it scared me. Actually, it scared me. I thought, would I be able to do that? So I went along into the centre of Manchester and found the gym, a mixed martial arts gym. And these were in the days where it really, you had to put a peg on your nose to go into the gym, and it stank, sweat, blood, tears, all the rest of it. And yeah, so as I've gone into the gym, I just found I really enjoyed the learning process of mixed martial arts, which comprises of stand-up striking techniques, kickboxing, boxing, the in-between bit, which is mainly the wrestling and the grappling, and the ground fighting aspect of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, submission grappling. So yeah, my interest was piqued by that, so that's where my passion sort of grew into it.
Yeah, awesome. So what drew you to MMA? What did you think that's what you wanted to do? Why was that? Because like say it petrified you. Was that something that you wanted to overcome, or was it something that you felt like you needed to do, or what was?
Yeah,
what was the drive?
First of all, that was what interested me at first. It was so exciting and dynamic, and like I say, I was scared by it to look at it. I was watching a YouTube clip. So my first protocol was, could I actually do that? Not as a career, not competitively, but as from a self-defense point of view, more than anything. So that's what interested me. But then as I went into it, I realised it's a massive learning process. You really learn, and especially the ground fighting aspect, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So obviously you're competing it as a sport, but it's also the if it was one individual discipline, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the ground fighting aspect, that's the best form of self-defense, basically. So for me, I think coming from a sporting background, it was the sporting aspect that really excited me the most, just competitively. You know, can I better myself?
Yeah.
You know, it's never about sort of beating on somebody else. In fact, that sort of it's never sort of held me back, but it's never been my mindset to. I'm not an aggressive person, but you know, I'm a sports person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a challenge, but then there's the emotional challenges, the physical challenges, the mental challenges of learning new techniques. Because I think when people will watch MMA, mixed martial arts, historically there's been a massive stigma attached to it. That, you know, people called it cage fighting. It doesn't give you a description of what it is that's going on in there.
Yeah.
So I think it could happen in any area, any role, any sport, any job. People don't get an appreciation of how skilled people are until you do it. So for me, it was learning the skills, really. It was just I just enjoyed learning. I got into the process at that age.
Yeah.
When I was changing my career, I was I did a diploma in sports therapy, retrained as a personal trainer, nutritionist advisor, and mixed martial arts. So the sort of two came through together, and it was just the learning process I enjoyed as much as anything else.
Yeah, awesome. So how many years did it take to turn pro from when you started to when you...
So like I say, I started training just before I was 30, and I turned professional at 34.
Awesome.
So I think I was fortunate in a way where I really came from a sporting background. I was a little bit more mature, I'd like to think. So I sort of understood the emotional process of it. So yeah, I was just like, after I'd been training about a year or two, I started doing submission grappling tournaments, a couple of Muay Thai bouts, and it came to a point where my old coach asked me if I'd like to compete in MMA at amateur level. So again, I did so, and you know, I had to think a lot about it because it's not an easy thing to do, to step into the octagon and compete with another man who's sort of, you know, trying to sort of cause harm in a way, like I said, in a non-aggressive way. It's hard to explain the purity of it and the art. When really the aim is to sort of finish the fight. But yes, that again, that excited me just as a sports person. Can I do that? Can I compete under pressure? Which is what my whole life's really been about. In the sporting arena. So yeah, that's what I did.
Awesome. So, like, what I sort of got, obviously, when we've got to know you over the last few months, really, it's been obviously when we first got you on board, it was how many months ago? 4 months ago, yeah. So we've actually got to know you quite well before actually even coming to the sessions. Now, obviously, what you've just said there, what I think from the years of being obviously at the forefront of THQ is that process coming from joining the 6-week meltdown during the 12-week shoot. Like, people have to come over so many hurdles, and I'm such a big believer in, right, you have to go all in. So for the first 6 months of the process, you have to be all in, and you have to make certain sacrifices, and I think that is obviously on a completely different level to what you've done. But I can imagine it's just as if you were training for a fight and having to have that discipline and having to overcome certain things. And that's what you're definitely going to be able to help people focus on and achieve their end goal, really, because like it's a very similar sort of thing in their head, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think there's going to be many parallels in the process of making, you know, so in the MMA arena, you get offered a fight, normally in 8 weeks' time. So you have an 8-week countdown, and you look at what you have to do to get to where you need to be. So obviously, so with the process, again, there's a lot of similarities where you have to lose your body fat, you have to be as strong, as powerful as you can be for the weight that you agree to fight at. Now, obviously, THQ is body transformation, and again, that's dropping body fat. But the differences between MMA and body transformation is you can build more lean tissue, whereas in MMA, once you agree to fight at a certain weight, that's the weight that you have to make. Because sometimes fighters, by the time they get to fight day, they're probably not the best overall athlete they could be, just because sometimes they can lose a little bit of muscle mass. But the mindset of getting there is.
So when that was happening to you, when you was having to sort of obviously stick to the same weight, what was sort of going through your head of like through your training and through your everything, your nutrition? Because obviously everything happened to be important. Like it's complete two different things. Obviously, training for performance, training for body composition, especially as a day-to-day person, is two ends of the world, two completely different ends of the world. But I think the mindset process, the things you have to overcome, like just for as a THQ member, they've got to sort of overcome sometimes the negative parts of the friends and the negative parts of the family, the things that are sort of making different sacrifices. So what did you find that sort of were the biggest things that you found hard on the process that you, the mindset things, then you overcome them and you just did it anyway?
Like say these social aspects.
Yeah.
Once you've decided in your own mind and you sort of almost put pen to paper, you made an agreement with yourself or with other people that this is what I'm going to do, then there is things that, hurdles that come in the way that you have to overcome. And one of them is social. Your friends are going out. Yeah. They're drinking, they're eating what they want, they might go out 2-3 times a week. Now you're not going to be able to do that. So sometimes the bigger the goal, the bigger the gain, and I definitely think that's the case in that. The body transformations is a big goal, but you get massive benefits from it. And the same in mixed martial arts. I mean, win, lose or draw the fight. A lot of it's about it's all about the process. But you're going to overcome the social aspect. You're going to be tired sometimes if you're in a calorie deficit. That's the exact same in MMA and body transformations. Sometimes you might not want to go and train as well. That's a big one. Yeah. Sometimes people, I think, will look at personal trainers and think, they always want to be in the gym. It's like, no. Sometimes more often than not, I don't. Yeah. I love to train. Yeah. I love to lift weights. I love to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love to do all these things when I'm doing them. But more often than not, I don't want to come out the house. Sometimes I don't want to get up and leave the house in the morning if it's cold and it's raining. At the end of a hard day, look after children. I don't want to go back out and train. But there's a saying, certainly in sport, like to be professional is doing the things that you don't want to do. Can you add it? Yeah. There's a saying, to be professional is to do the things that you want to do when you don't want to do them.
100%.
So with the body transformation, I think having a vision is massively important as well. Sometimes taking photos, having visuals will help. Like I want to look like that. I want to look like this person. I want to look like this person, and keeping that in mind. So when the times when you're struggling, sort of keep your eye on the prize and realise that it's temporary. Just getting over the hurdle of just getting out the house. I don't want to go, maybe lasagna's being cooked and but you've got your food prep ready. Yeah. But sometimes I think it really is temporary. Get out the house. Do refuse that for the time being. It's not forever, but like I said, the bigger the goal, the bigger the game for certain.
100%. And it's like the analogy I always use. It's like rolling a stone up a hill. It's hard. It's sacrifice at the time. But once you get there, I suppose like once you're there and you're at the fight, it's there. You've done the work, hard work. It's just you just go there, don't you? And it's like the same with obviously with the body transformation. Once people get there, they're hard work. But once they get to the point of in shape, it's easy to maintain it than what it ever has before. Yeah. One thing I picked up on there, and I'll explain to why I'm asking: how important was it in your mind that everybody who knew you and your coaches and everyone like that, and as in when the build up to training for a fight, how was important in the back of your mind that everyone knows you've got a fight coming up? So obviously your friends know you've got a fight coming up, your family knows you've got a fight, your coaches, everything's geared towards that and I'll tell you why I asked the question before you answer, is that a lot of people come to the starting meeting of the 12-week shoot program and they say, I want to do the shoot, but I don't want to do the picture. Right? I want to do the process. Now we always say the process we can give you the process, but if you don't tell everybody, and not everybody, including yourself, that you are going to be standing in front of that camera, you don't have to show your pictures to anyone, but if you're going to be standing in front of the camera with your top off in 12 weeks' time, you are not going to make the sacrifice and determination and turn down that lasagna and do your food prep and all them things like that. if you don't have that accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So as a fighter in a fighting camp, everybody wants that fights that got happened.
Yeah,
It's got to happen. And it's how powerful is that, rather than just doing the process anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The word that you use there, accountability, it is a massive one. So when you sign the dotted line, basically, I'm going to do this at this date. If you don't tell people, sometimes the big goal that you've set yourself, sometimes it's easy to get frightened of it. And I'll talk quickly now about the book that I've read, and I read it twice, and I think reading is really important, arming yourself with knowledge in anything that you do, with your mindset, with physique, with nutrition. It can really help you to arm yourself with a little bit of knowledge. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So when you decide to make the body transformation, there's a big reason why there's usually a good reason, a big why of why you're going to do this thing, but invariably you're going to come to a certain crossroads where you want to sort of back out because it's easier to back out. But if you do let people know that this is where I'm going, this is what I'm gonna do, it puts a little bit more pressure on. But pressure makes diamonds. It's a bit cliche, but it's true. And like I say, sometimes it's easy in some aspects to talk about MMA. Like, it's not about the win.
No.
You can lose, you can draw. It's about the process. But then you get to the top, the pinnacle, and you've got there and you've done it. You've done all the hard work, you made all the sacrifices, and the fact that you've actually taken the time and learned a lot about yourself along your own mindset. I think you get to that point, and there's a lot to be proud of that you carry on through the rest of your life. That's 100%. Like I say, if if you're looking at losing, you set the goal of losing 12% body fat, 1% per week for 12 weeks. Maybe you lose 10. You still look great. You still learn a lot about yourself. You might have got to that 12%, but 2 or 3 weekends, you fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
But only because you've given yourself that you've told everybody that that's where you're going to. The fact that you've worked so hard to get there, again, I just think you can. There's a lot to take out of it, a lot of pride to take from the process.
Awesome. I think we've nailed the fact that how you can relate the two things, even though obviously you've got a lot of experience in personal training, and obviously you've got experience in building muscle, dropping body fat. So obviously your knowledge you're going to be able to bring to the table, I think is going to be amazing. But the mindset side of it is maybe to bring some of the things that obviously us or other THQ trainers couldn't do. So I think that's going to be a massive, valuable point. So with the mindset, obviously we spoke, it's a huge part. What sort of practices have you learned over the years from MMA that you do daily, like for your mindset? What sort of things do you always go back to?
Yeah, I think in the early days, so when you talk about people doing a transformation for the first time, I think it's important to put a process in place, put steps in place. So make a plan. So number one, you start with the why. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to change my body? Read about the benefits, so you make that decision. But then there's a process, and especially what THQ is so good at. These goals every step of the way. The 6-week meltdown. There's a new goal, a new plan to put in place each week. So it's once you've done something for a short period of time, you got a solid foundation, and then you can build on it. So for me, it was a lot about putting a plan in place and goals in place. So short term, medium term, long term, and the way that I did that was to write it down. Sometimes physically write it down. I find that sort of helps me. Yeah. Right, what do I want to do in 8 weeks' time or 12 weeks' time? That's where I want to be. But now, how do I get there? So I know why I want to do it, but how do I do it? So what am I going to do? So definitely think small steps. Sometimes the goal can be like a 1-day goal, a 24-hour goal. Yeah. I'm not going to have that glass of wine tonight. I'm not going to have that beer tonight. And once you get over that first hurdle, I think you get quite a lot of confidence. That it wasn't that hard actually, and now I feel the benefits within a day or 2 days. Yeah. So I think alcohol's a good example. Yeah. I lived in Spain for a while, and the culture is very much to go out every evening and have a couple of glasses of wine, a couple of beers every night. But then, in the grand scheme of things, if you like I say, if you've got this goal of body transformation or to compete in mixed martial arts, you can't always do that. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong at all, but sometimes there's little things that you just have to take out. But yeah, just having like a simple process, but one that you write down and one that you plan and stick to them short-term goals, and the short-term goals are going to turn into medium-term goals, medium-term into the long-term.
Awesome. So one thing that obviously I want you to try and answer me is one thing that a lot of people always say is that they overthink the situation, and especially with body transformation, they can't do that, and they don't stay calm under, like, what advice would you, obviously, if you're getting hit in the face, you've got to remain calm and like stick to your game plan, like you've said, and that's obviously very hard for the average person to put themselves in that situation. But then obviously, whatever's going on your own head, that is like the biggest problem anyway, isn't it? So how do you what's good advice for staying calm and not overthinking it? Because we always say, if you stick to 80% of your nutrition and training, you're going to see results. Like, don't panic. Oh no, because I've had one bad meal, or I've been out for the weekend, or they're planning the transformation and they think in 16 weeks' time I've got a meal out and I can't do it. So it's like you can't overthink and panic about. So what advice could you give to people about being calm in certain situations and just?
The simple answer is keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep everything as simple as possible. So in the terms of a fight, start off with your jab, start with your footwork, start with your distance. Like, keep things really simple. Gain confidence. So again, when we talk about putting steps in place, the 6-week meltdown, maybe it's a week where you're increasing your water intake. Once you've done that, keep it simple. Keep doing those same things, and repetition as well, so that getting into the habit of getting up every morning, for me personally, it's a litre of water, it's black coffee. That's my habit. That's a habit. It's something that I enjoy, and it's something that sort of sees me through. Even if I go through a period when I put in things that aren't going to help my body composition, at least I've still got, like you say, the 80%. I'm doing a lot of things right every day out of habit. So the simple things, I make a daily habit.
Yeah. So staying calm, this I love it how this does relate, is because when someone starts the shoot process, that's at the 100 mile an hour. They want to do 100 mile an hour. And we have to remind them, look, just keep it simple, do the basics, and you get the results. You actually do the basics. So like when you say you're stepping into a fight, is that we just have to remind yourself not, because now it's here, now you're fighting, and not to go all in, just keep calm, do the things you know, do the basics, and then you will get the result that you want to get.
Yeah. Like I say, I think sometimes having somebody to lean on, somebody to coach you through it, is important. When I have cornered guys when they go into fight, it sounds dead simple. It might sound a little bit odd, but I tell people when they go into the cage, I say feel what's underneath your feet first of all. So it's almost like being present. But sometimes you having somebody there to lean on or to give you information is important, and that's the thing that I love so much about THQ. And again, I'm not paying lip service; it's a fact. You've got people there who are telling you these steps and making them simple but super effective. So the one thing I would say is, like, have a framework around you of people who you trust and who are going to give you voluntarily give you information. And by the same token as well, I would say, people almost feel like they should be able to figure things out themselves, or they don't want to ask. But for me, I would always say, arm yourself with as much knowledge as possible. So for me, I would hopefully never feel stupid to ask somebody a question. So come to you and say, Carl, what would you do? For whatever reason, I'm struggling at this point. What would you do? Sometimes I think it's much more simple if somebody can just tell,
100%,
just shed a lot of light on something only by asking a question. I think I will make a point of, because I've thought about it in the past, I think sometimes it's easy to start to learn about something. So you go into the shoot process and you can really start to muddy the waters. You can go down a rabbit hole of, this part of nutrition, that part of supplements. I think having knowledge and information is really good. But for me, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with being jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I don't mean superficial, like guessing at what you're talking about, but understanding supplements, understanding nutrition, understanding mindset enough so that you can have a conversation. So basically, if you know more about the supplements than I do, I can say to you, Cal, I'm struggling with this bit.
Yeah.
What would you advise? So arming myself with enough knowledge where I can absorb the information that you're giving me, but not going all the way down the rabbit hole where I'm sort of dismissing all of this. Does that make sense?
100%. That's exactly that's why we obviously, myself and Ryan, constantly put out content, because the key to maintaining a body transformation is, yes, you don't have to have as much knowledge as what we have, but you have to have a good understanding of yourself, and you have to have that knowledge, because if you don't have that knowledge, like you say, you can't ask the right questions, because research, especially if you haven't got any basic knowledge, like say you're going in a rabbit hole researching things and you get drifted off, whereas if you've got a basic knowledge, you can ask better questions to, say, a THQ trainer. So if we're giving you advice and you go home as a client, and a member goes home and actually studies it, you'll be able to ask better questions when you come back into the gym. So yeah, that absolutely makes loads and loads of sense. Okay. So obviously with THQ, we just focus on body composition. That's how we get people results, and that's the only thing we focus on. And that's obviously what you're going to be focusing on. It's obviously you're going to be obviously focusing on your own body transformation, going through your own shoot process, helping people achieve body transformation. That's the only thing we're going to be focusing on. But a common question that I get asked is that, can I still... So obviously people, once they come into THQ, they understand that if they want the results, they have to go all into weight training, do the 3 sessions a week, follow the nutrition, hit a calorie deficit. That's what they have to do to get results. Then they say, can I still do bike riding? Can I still do running? Can I still do... And like I've said many times, is obviously when you're on that 6 weeks, 12 weeks, that's where all your energy and focus has to be. But you should never ever cut out things that you actually enjoy the process. So obviously we had a conversation a few weeks ago. You was like, I remember you saying that every Saturday you go to Manchester, do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's what you always do, and you always do that. So even though your attention actually in the week and generally is going to be on body composition, training, and your nutrition is going to be to get you the best body shape you can, you're never going to take that out of your life, because it's something that's who you are and it's something that you enjoy. And I think that is a massive key to... Like I always say to somebody, don't run if you're doing it for fat loss. Don't go on a bike if you're doing it for fat loss, if you're just doing it. But if you enjoy it, find a way to keep that into your body transformation. So with your new chapter now of focusing on your THQ chapter, how important is it that you obviously still keep this in your life as well, like for your own sort of...
Yeah, my own sanity and my own excitement. I mean, it is important that you still do the things that you enjoy to do. Like I say, people might like to go and jog. Bike ride. For me, I enjoy training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The changes that I decided to make is that what I have to do is limit the intensity. I know that I want to transform my body composition. In the past, it was always for athletic endeavour. Now it's not. It's for a different reason. So I know what I need to do to get to where I want to go. So that does mean that, I can still do the things that I want to do. The other thing I have to do is just reduce the intensity so that it doesn't impact what I want to do. Absolutely
love it how you've simplified it. You've absolutely hit the nail on your head, because many people that say they love bike riding, they used to go in, that's where all the focus was, and they're going these big, like maybe going to France and just going all over bike riding, and then they say, I've got like 4 or 5 these big events planned, and then I want to do the shoot. Well, no, you can't do both. You have to commit to one. You can still do the thing that you enjoy, but you have to limit the intensity. I love that simplicity of looking at it. That's absolutely spot on. So just before we wrap up, what's the sort of the main thing that you're looking... we spoke about off air before, you was like this new chapter, this new excitement, and everyone needs that in their life and needs that. What's the biggest thing that you're looking forward to generally just look forward to being a THQ trainer, and then obviously going on to be a THQ head coach within 18 months?
Yeah. There's 2 things I'm looking forward to. I got into personal training because I genuinely love to see people be positive and make positive changes in their life. I've always enjoyed training people from a personal training perspective. For the fact that I think, say, if a grandparent comes in, I think they're going to be such a good example. So I like to have that positive effect on people, so I'm looking forward to that. And the THQ model allows you to be personable, so you are working with people individually, but then collectively as well. So I like the fact that there's so many people that are helped in one go, yet at a personal level. So that's something that really excites me. Like I say, I enjoy it. I don't think there's anything more important in life than our health, physical and mental. Nothing more important.
100%, I agree entirely.
And then it's done again, like I'll say again, like I'm not paying lip service, but the THQ framework. Obviously, I've spent the past 12 years in the industry as a personal trainer. But my whole life has been about sport in the gym, PE at college and what have you. But for me, the THQ framework is the most effective I've seen for body transformation. So, and like I say, it's almost easy to think, he's got to say that. Well, no, it's the truth. I think you make it so understandable for people, so achievable. The support networks there, good people, super professional. So I'm looking forward to working within that framework, helping people to do my passion. So.
Thank you very much. Jamie Lester, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you. It's been nice to hear about your life, and I'm really looking forward to you being a THQ trainer.
Me too.
Thank you very much.